Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the German Tier 8 Premium Tank Destroyer, the Panzerknacker Auto, or Panzerknacker. I was told the last time I did a video on this tank to say the K, so we're going to stick with Panzerknacker, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong. So, if you do like the video as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Panzerknacker Auto. It is a Tier 8 German tank destroyer that you can get for free in the Season Pass. You don't need to pay anything to be able to get this tank. You just complete the Season Pass, and you'll get this vehicle. And what are you getting out of this tank? Well, this tank is a pretty decent Tier 8 tank destroyer. It's not going to blow the world up because it's the best thing since sliced bread. It's not that. It's a tank destroyer which can be very, very awkward, but if you get it into a tank destroyer relocation like you're seeing here, and you can farm, it farms hard because the damage output is pretty damn impressive. It reloads really quickly, the clip. The intra-clip reloads okay, so you're basically just consistently pushing out damage. The mobility is pretty good as well. The camo's fairly average for a tank destroyer. It's not incredible camo, but it's not bad. Armour, none. Armour's poo. Really is absolute poo. So don't believe that this thing is ever going to bounce you anything, because it is the Tier 7 Jagdpanther, but at Tier 8. And you've got an autoloader on this gun instead to make up for the fact that you are now a Tier 8. So yeah, that is definitely a pain as well for the Panzerknacker. But generally, like I say, it's just a fairly decent tank destroyer. It's not anything to shout home about. You're not going to sit there playing this tank going, it's the most incredible thing ever. People who can't really play tank destroyers that well are probably going to struggle with it, because you can't be too aggressive in it, otherwise you just die, which is pain. So the Panzerknacker Auto, it's got a 55 km/h top speed, 18 km/h reverse speed, 870 horsepower engine, which is 19.3 horsepower per ton ratio, which is fantastic. Means it gets up to its top speed pretty easily. It does have 2.3 on soft, 1.25 on medium, and 1.05 on firm. But those resistances you don't feel all that badly on the Panzerknacker, to be honest. You've got a 20% internal fire chance, which is on the higher end of fire chances, and yeah, this thing does like getting set on fire. You get shot through the lower plate, it likes getting set on fire. You get shot in the back end, it likes getting set on fire. That can be a painful thing for the Panzerknacker Auto, so, you know, it might be something you want to think about with fire safety training. 38.97 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means this tank does turn very quickly on its tracks, which helps this vehicle feel very, very nice in terms of its mobility. You've got 301 meters of still concealment with the build that I run, and 340 of on the move concealment. So when you're on the move, the concealment really isn't that good on the Panzerknacker Auto, which can be painful. But if you're in a stationary situation like this and you're using the bush cover correctly, it can be a royal pain to spot you, especially if you're using the flash hider like I am. And that's why I say that, you know, if you're playing it in that sort of more stealthy tank destroyer locations, you can do alright with it. But you can get spotted quite easily when you're trying to move into a position like we just did there. The moment we moved, we got spotted, and that's because our on-the-move concealment is so much worse than the standard concealment. Which is it's something you can think about running the low-noise exhaust instead of the flash hider, but when you're in the sort of more tank destroyer locations, that flash hider can get you out of dodge quite a few more times, to be honest, just by firing and not getting spotted at all. So you've got 452 meters of view range, which for this kind of tank destroyer this day and age is actually pretty decent. It means that you don't have to worry about optics all too much, as it is turretless, so naturally you are going to be turning left to right quite often to be able to keep your gun on target, which means binocs would just get deactivated. So it's nice to be able to have the 452 meters of view range at all times. You've got 0.71 accuracy during rotation with a 3.07 accuracy during movement. Now, the accuracy during rotation isn't too bad, so when you turn the gun and stuff, the aim circle doesn't bloom out too badly, but the accuracy during movement at 3.07 is quite poor, and it means the aim circle does bloom out quite a lot when you turn and when you are on the move in this vehicle. But since you have a 1.98 second aim time, the gun aims in really, really quickly anyway, which is quite nice for the tank, well, with the build that I run anyway. You've got 0.3 accuracy at 100 meters, which is very accurate. This gun is very, very nice. If you get it fully aimed, it will hit most of the shots you want to take, which is lovely. You've got 8 degrees of gun depression, which means you can be pretty damn flexible on the ridgeline, which is also a very good thing for the Panzerknacker Auto. You've got a 15.34 second reload on this clip, which is very, very quick, which is lovely. Again, it means you don't feel like you're out of the fight all that often, with a 2.4 second intra-clip reload on this 3-shot clip. So it takes you that 5.2 seconds to get all the damage pushed out of the clip, which means you've got about 2.5k DPM, which for an autoloader is actually really good. I mean, you never really pay attention to DPM on an autoloader, because naturally it's all about the burst damage, not the raw DPM potential, but that sort of DPM for an autoloader at Tier 8 is still really good. You got 234 penetration on the standard AP rounds, 294 penetration on the premium APCR rounds, and 44mm of penetration on the HE, which have 370 alpha on them as opposed to your standards 280. So the HE can be okay against some of the very lightly armoured TDs, but it's really not that useful in general. The standard pen is good enough to go through a lot of vehicles you're going to face, and if you do struggle to pen anything, you can just load the 294 premium APCR rounds, which are very, very good, and do butcher most things you're going to face. It's only the really heavily armoured vehicles that you do struggle against, and even then you do have good penetration, which means you can go through those vehicles where some vehicles can't. You got 1,000 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP rounds, which is bang average, meaning you do have to give a decent amount of lead at distance to be able to hit your targets in this gun. But you got 1,250 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APCR, which is nice, and that means that when you load that APCR, you don't have to give quite as much lead at distance to be able to hit your targets. Accuracy, by the way, this vehicle is very, very accurate, and it is very, very nice for those kinds of shots into very, very pixely areas like that ball sig there. But yeah, like I say, the tank in general, it also has that 150% silver bonus as well, which means it does make decent silver. Not incredible silver, but decent enough. And for saying you get it for free, it's not a bad tank to pick up just for completely free, just by playing, pretty much. But like I say, the tank itself is pretty decent. It's not anything exceptional, but it's good enough for getting for free, you know. As we finish that game with the high caliber, the first class, the 1614 base XP with the 4.2k damage and 5 kills. Pretty good game there for the Panzerknacker Auto in a top tier lobby. And that was all about the Panzerknacker Auto. That's what that game was all about. You get yourself in those nice tank destroyer locations, people spot for you, you can fire away and just keep damage consistently rolling out, because that's what this tank does. You can hit those pixel shots, the gun is beautiful generally, it will hit those, and then you can also be just the typical autoloader where, you know, you can try and catch people out, drop a clip and then get back, and because you've got the good mobility, the tank can do that. The other thing I did forget to mention is that this gun does look 11 degrees to the left and 11 degrees to the right, so the yaw limit for the gun is actually pretty good as well. So you don't have to turn the tank all that often to keep the gun on target, it's just if they're really fast moving. So what do I run in terms of crew and equipment on the Panzerknacker Auto to get to those statistics that you've just heard about for the old vehicle? Well, for the Panzerknacker Auto, I do run Born Leader, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanic, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, Green Thumb, Clutch Braking, Expert Gunner, Radio Jamming, with the GLD, the Improved Concealment, the Optics, and the Flash Hider. Flash Hider and Improved Concealment with the Camouflage Expertise and the Green Thumb, to be able to get that best camo that I can possibly squeeze out this tank, down to 301 meters of still concealment, and the Flash Hider for those sorts of situations like you saw in the first replay, where we're using concealment, that sort of thing, and we're reducing the effect of firing on our camo with that Flash Hider, which is what we want to try and do to stay stealthy and not get spotted as easily when we're using concealment correctly. The GLD to get the aim time down as low as possible, because the aim circle does bloom out a lot when you turn left and right. It's nice to get the aim circle down very, very quickly so we can get the gun on target and get this clip and damage pushed out. The Optics to be able to have the 452 meters of view range so we can spot for ourselves okay. Again, it's not the best view range in the universe, but it's good enough that we can spot for ourselves with that. We're above the 445 meters of spotting cap. Run and Gun to get the accuracy during movement down as low as we can do, because it's something we want to help out naturally, as the gun is, you know, pretty massive aim circle bloom. And then the Expert Gunner and Clutch Braking. Clutch Braking to be able to get the track traverse faster so we can swivel the gun on target as fast as possible. With Expert Gunner, we are an auto-loader, so it's nice to be able to get the chance of increasing our chance of doing module damage by 6%, which can be very, very handy for this vehicle, because you never know, you might damage an ammo rack and then instantly put another shot in and blow the ammo rack, which can be pretty handy. Also, reducing the effective distance on our penetration by 25%, so that we've got 219mm of penetration on the AP at 500 meters and 275 on the premium, which will then still be able to go through a lot of vehicles even at that big range that we might want to actually be at in the Panzerknacker Auto, because, like I say, especially in a matchup like you're seeing here in a tier 10 lobby, we don't want to be the focus of people's attention, because they will just absolutely butcher us, and it's something we just do not want to be the case. But like I said, there's plenty of different ways that you can kit out that vehicle. If you wanted to, you could run the binoculars instead and get the best view range you can possibly squeeze out the tank, because 452 isn't the best. If you were to run binos, you would get up to 493, which is a hell of a lot better, but to be fair, like I say, I just like running the flash hider myself. Again, you could run the low noise exhaust as well because the camouflage during movement is not the best as well. You could run the camo net if you wanted to, instead of improved concealment for those sorts of situations that we were in a minute ago. But like I say, you are constantly turning the tank left and right to be able to get the gun on target to fire. So it's something that I just don't feel the benefit of because I'd feel like I'm always going to be swiveling left and right, which means my camo wouldn't be that good without the camo net anyway. So we're in the second game here on Sword Beach, which is the new version of Khan 1944, and we're up to 2.2k damage, 196 assisted in this tier 10 game, and I thought it's time to move and get after the guys on the left. And as I started crossing, I went, oh my lord, that's a nemesis. What is a nemesis doing there? He seems to be looking this way, but he's starting to turn, so I decided to go after the T-44. Unfortunately, T-44 automatically pens us. We missed him, but we do get 2 shots there into the Nemesis, who tried to get around safety, around that rock, because there was me and the medium tank that could shoot him in the buttocks, and our team is pushing very aggressively up the 1 line. So now we've got those 2 shots into the Nemesis. The heavy tank and the medium tank at D1 are currently getting pushed by most of our team. So I decided, okay, you know what, with the Nemesis having gone around that corner, I'm going to go try and get some shots into the rear of that guy and try and distract him from my team that are also pushing round. So we get around the corner, see the Nemesis, don't do any damage with the first shot, but the next 2 shots do go straight into the rear of that Nemesis and put us up to 3.4k damage with just 1 tank, well, just 3 tanks left alive. I was about to say 1 tank, no, it's 3 tanks left alive. There's the heavy tank, the tank destroyer that just got destroyed by the Foch 155, that heavy tank on our left, and a TD that is looking at us, which is an SFAC, who's absolutely slaps us. We finish him off with a shot, and then we can come over and try and get some shots into this ST2, which we should have absolutely loaded premium rounds for, but these AP rounds might still go through the rear if we get lucky enough. So we have the rear, put 1 shot into that. Second shot, ricochets? Off his butt? Thanks, game. That was really good of you. As we finish the game with 2 kills, 3.6k damage, 196 assistance damage, the first class for that 1767 base XP. Pretty nice game there for the Panzerknacker Auto in the tier 10 lobby there on Sword Beach. But again, just showing the way it wants to play. It wants to play in those sorts of situations where you can keep popping over, drop a clip, pull back, or be in nice concealment where you're unspotted and just keep, again, consistently pushing out damage like a tank destroyer wants to. But now we're onto a map that is really not a Panzerknacker Auto's favourite thing to be on, which is Ensk. And we're on a tier 10 lobby, which means people are going to be looking at us a lot, and that can be painful. As the Iron Arnie, or the M47 Black Edition there, just showed us, he instantly snapped on and penned us, no problem whatsoever. That's the way it goes. Now, Ensk can be a thing that could be decent for the Panzerknacker Auto, and the reason I say that is auto-loaders. Did we just get no, surely the medium tank behind us, surely that's a medium tank behind us getting spotted on the cross, right? Surely. I'm just going to say that, because if that was a blind fire, fair play. But yeah, the thing with the Panzerknacker Auto is just like other autoloaders. A map like this, even if it's not a good map for the tank, could still be decent, because autoloader. We can drive around a corner, go, surprise, drop a clip, and then get back around the corner. And since we've got good mobility in the Panzerknacker Auto, that's quite easy to do. But naturally, because of the close range situation that this map is, if we get spotted and people look at us, they can literally just drive at us and pen us no problem, because we have absolutely no armour, and that can be a royal pain for something like the Panzerknacker Auto. So we got the kill on the M47 Black Edition there. We're up to 1530 damage with 661 assistance. Drive around the corner, and yeah, the Huntsman instantly pens us through the front there with the snap-on, and we only get 1 into him in return, with 2 shots just not going anywhere near, which is a sad time. And again, you see it's straight through, no problem. The armour on this tank is worthless. But again, angles do exist on this tank. It is a Jagdpanther after all, and because of the sloping on the upper plate, if I was at an extreme angle, I can get some lucky ricochets, and you can get lucky ricochets, but yeah, just don't try and rely on it. So you can see me go, absolutely not. That Chaug there just instantly snapped on, and I was like, no, 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 don't want that hitting us. So we get ourselves back safe around this building. Now that Chaug is actually driving around on my left, and I think, okay, I can get in a position to shoot him, and I think, there we go. Hello, Mr. Chaug. He's not looking at us. We can go, hello, Mr. Heavy Tank. Surprise. And this is what I'm talking about with an autoloader as we track him there. We can wait in ambush. We can just absolutely ambush. So I'm just going to wait to get unspotted, and I'm just going to keep my eye on him around that corner. You can see he's watching the corner here. I'm just going to keep my eye on him. He starts driving forward. He clearly is going to try and shoot us if he can, so I keep myself safe and hope that he thinks I've run away, which he seems to do. So I'm going to try and shoot him through the destructible cover. It doesn't work. But now we can get 2 shots into his rear and then get ourselves safe back around this building again. Sadly, we didn't track and pen him with the final shot, but we did track him, which means we are getting some assistance damage here. He's getting farmed by the T-57 Heavy, and that guy shuts down that Chaug. We're up to 2.8k damage with 1500 assistance. We've got some shots into this T-62A, so I'm just going to wait to see... Well, I was going to wait to see if he pulled... That was just a bad shot, realistically, but hey-ho, we get 1 shot in, 2 shots. No 2 shots. That's a sad time. I'm surprised that that didn't hit. That was actually... Ugh. The 277's looking our way, so you can see me duck into the mouse cover as quickly as humanly possible, because I don't want to take that shot from the 277, because we are a breath away from death, and I don't want to die at this point, because we're having a pretty decent game in a Tier 10 lobby, right? So we're going after the 277, and then I realise, oh, is Mr. T-62A still alive? How are we all ignoring this guy? Okay, I'll shut him down then, as we put 2 shots into the rear of the T-62A. The 277 gets shut down, the T-92 gets shut down, and again we finished with a decent game there for the Panzerknacker Auto on Ensk in a Tier 10 lobby with the 2 kills, 3.6k damage, 1644 assistance. The first class with that 1888 base XP. Really nice game there for the Panzerknacker Auto, which, I say, is a pretty decent tank destroyer. It's not absolutely incredible, it's not really terrible, it's just one of those tanks that you kind of go, yeah, it's alright, it's alright. But you can get it for free in the Season Pass, which I suppose is pretty good. It's always nice to be able to pick up tanks that you sort of look at and go, it could be interesting, but at the same time, I'm never really going to pay for it. But if you get it free in the Season Pass, absolutely fantastic. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!